Welcome back to another supporters stream. Yes, the kitty is joining NATO right along with Sweden. Didn't realize until afterwards those were a bunch of pewy shelly shells, so I don't know if that's going to cause any issue or not, but hopefully not. We'll see. All right, well, how's everybody doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah, it's like everybody's cameras somehow got turned off for bandwidth, despite we actually have really, really good bandwidth here. We actually have like 15 up down here in America. It's shocking. I know. It's hard to find.
I started a fresh game of Cyberpunk today.
There you go.
Oh boy.
For the third time.
All right.
They keep updating it. It's like 2 years old and they're still patching it.
Yeah. Is that the one that was like really horrible when it first came out?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down in the deep south right now. Down there, any South Carolinians here? I know we got a couple South Carolinians watching. So I'm down here in your lovely state. Of course, it's hot as all get out right now. I think it's 28.
You're going to get some. Are you still down south?
Yeah, I'm in South Carolina.
Okay, you might be safe. There's supposed to be a bunch of nasty storms going across Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia.
Most of those they're trending northeast, so they should go above me. I think starting tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to start getting a lot of rain down here in South Carolina, but I don't think there's going to be serious adverse weather otherwise. So I don't know. We'll see. Let me go ahead and put you guys on the screen there. So, Commodore fan, how's it going there? Chrome OS is over. If we include Chrome OS, it's over 6. No, I think, was it Chrome OS? I don't know.
No, it's separated out.
Yep. But there's some questions that I have.
That was a 2%.
Yeah, and so some of it is which statistics are we looking at and things, of course. Let's see. I'd say including Android, as Samsung has DeX mode, makes it into a desktop OS like. Okay, so there you go. Die Master, hello. Just happy I can support someone that speaks factual truth. That's right.
Oh, they say I sound like I'm in a canyon.
What's that?
Someone says I sound like I'm in a canyon.
I don't know. I mean, you sound like you might be in a dilapidated house, but I don't know.
They're saying it's echo on him.
Oh, okay. Jesse is lost in space. Greetings. Commodore fans in South Carolina. There you go. It doesn't sound that echoey to me. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. And checking out comments over on Odyssey. Poor kitty. Yeah. Okay, Dan, say something else again. I want to check my feedback.
Hello, Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Ooh, it seems to be on my end somehow. Interesting. Ivan, can you say something?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
We are getting feedback from Jitsi into my audio feed. So that is on my end. How is that happening? That is a very unusual thing to occur. All right, let me dive into my settings here real quick.
I just got this microphone. I don't want to have to trash it and get another one.
Not you. All right, say something again.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh, wait. I think we have it fixed. All right, go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Check. All right, you guys are low, but let me
something again
about that. This is
yeah.
All right, go ahead. Say again.
Say again.
Hey, I got it
Say
fixed.
again.
Of course, I need to tune me down. There you go. I just swapped our easiest fix. Let's do a hardware swap instead of a software swap. I swapped our channels on the soundboard.
Hello. Is there anybody out
all right.
there?
Thank you guys for alerting me to the echo. That fixed it. All right. Wow, that's exciting. I've not actually had that come down for a while. Maybe one of my buttons got pushed. I was messing with my soundboard a little bit when I did the audiobook. So if you guys are any of these supporters, we did get released the audiobook for In Your Dreams. I'm putting that one out until the 31st of March, so there's going to be a little overlap. And the next story we're doing is actually it's a departure from my usual style. It is not a family-friendly short story. It does involve a little bit of politics and a little bit of courtroom murder drama. So, but I won't say much more than that. Just like, I don't know. So we'll see if you guys really like it or really hate it. I don't know. I try and keep things family friendly, but the impact that I wanted to have on the next short story, I couldn't do without really being in your face about it. And so I think that that's kind of what I'm working towards. All right, on Rumble, 23 people on over there. Welcome to the supporter stream. Yeah, we got the echo resolved. Good thing we caught that before we actually started. Trafoton.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are on the Matrix server, someone's been playing with my bio picture with the AI. We've had some crazy ones. My favorite was that, like, the Ben Shapiro with the weird eyes. I really looked like Ben Shapiro. It wasn't supposed to be. I just thought, man, it looks like crazy Ben there. So
Yeah, my favorite was the one that where you actually have a resemblance to Shannon Morse from Hack 5.
I don't know
I
what
like
that
that.
is, but was that the
Because she
drag
actually
queen one
has-
or the other one?
Yeah, she actually has colored hair in a lot of different colors. And of course, being a girl, it looks really nice on her. But yeah.
Yeah, if you want to see Tom in drag, you need to head on over to the Matrix server for that. And
Yeah.
it was on the general
It's
thread,
rich.
I think, right?
Yeah.
It is definitely
It's funny, man.
The underside.
of course.
I like your wig.
Yeah, I don't have a short link for that. I should build a short link for that.
Purple,
but
too.
if you head on over to the website, switchedtolinux.com, go to the very bottom and find the Element logo in the social media links. That'll take you right on over to the Matrix server. All right, shall we talk about Linux reaching 4%? Actually, before we get into that, just a reminder, tomorrow, my conference starts tomorrow, so I may or may not have a Saturday video. I'm leaning towards no. I'm just going to take an entire week of being extraordinarily lazy on this channel. And then next week, starting back in on Monday next week, we're going to start hitting some good content again, though. So don't plan on a video Saturday. If I happen to get one, I'll get one out. But I also have I have my Bible study tomorrow instead of over the weekend because of the conference as well. So
Reminder, this weekend is Clocks Forward.
oh, Lord help us.
Yes.
I got that in addition to everything else and just crossing another time zone in the middle of a conference. What in the world is going on? But that also is going to push the news back a little bit because we will run, I think our last sessions run until close to 8. So I'm going to run the news probably 9 or 9:30, and I will figure that out when I look over the conference schedule. And I'm going to try and remember to put the exact time it is in the thumbnail. So when I get the news out, it should have the time we're going live in the thumbnail. Just so pay attention to that. And our news will be a little bit late, but we will have a weekly news roundup tomorrow. We have a ton of news, so we're going to have a long time tonight after the show parsing out what news gets reported. That does happen after the live portion of the show is over.
Yeah.
Did I look at the speech notes, James? It is on my list of things to start researching, and there was actually another application that I saw come out just in the last couple weeks as well. So I'm going to have a look at both of those. All right. So with that, though, let's go ahead and jump on over into our topic. Of course, big news this week is there was articles all over like every tech journal site. Linux market share passes 4% for the first time, except one of the statistics things says it's down to 4% from up as high as 6%.
Yeah.
So we have questions.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is what everyone was reporting on. This, of course, came from not that one, StatCounter. So StatCounter reported for the first time, you see this little red line with Linux goes up and crossed over into 4.03% for the very first time. Of course, you see that the Windows had a very minor dip, 73 to 72.12, but the biggest dip was in Mac from November to December 2023, dipping from 21 to 16. Now, that's not all going there. Of course, that's closer to the Windows increase. But one of the things to keep in mind here is that this is all proportional percentages, and that means that the statistics can look really weird. And so it becomes difficult to figure out exactly what this means. The other thing about this one is we have an unknown block, which is also going way up. And I can possibly attribute this to, more updates in software pushing anti-fingerprinting measures or things like that. Because remember, one of the things that Mozilla tries to do is trying to jumble the user agent data. So we don't know what is running.
You know,
Sometimes that might
unknown
be
could
unknown.
also unknown could
Go ahead.
also be all the TV apps as well that they put in TVs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is possible, because there's more of that. Maybe this bump is explicitly attributed to Amazon pushing the new ads onto all their stuff.
Now that
starting in January.
Walmart just acquired Vizio.
Yeah, Vizio was acquired by Walmart. There's that.
There's also because I think that your analysis that it might be a browser hiding or something could be correct, because I configured the when you edit the chart data, and I enabled from the start point to the earliest point that they have in this website, which is from January 2009 until now. And there are a few sharp rises in the unknowns, and they correspond with the sharp decreases in the Windows reported. So
yeah, like you can see this one here, March, April, May. You can see the sharp increase in the unknowns equivalent to a sharp decrease in Windows. We can only hope that Windows would ever fall down to 62% usage.
Yeah, I think they actually will, because when you use the chart from January 2009, Windows market share decreases from 95.39 in February 2009 until and down to 72% now. So they are in a steady decline in the long run.
Yeah, so you can see here's the Windows 95 all the way going down, and then this is Mac OS climbing, but then you see these, this is what he's talking about. Every one of these spikes have a parallel inverse to the unknown, which is possibly user agent things or stuff like that. So it's very possible you could even take the unknown, merge it into Windows, and say that the unknown is most likely Windows. Chances are the unknown is a pretty good percentage proportion to all of the other ones combined, except you'll notice that there's no spikes with any of the Mac, indicating that Mac always is very clear to indicate who exactly it is. So,
yeah. And I would also think that the few who are running BSD as their desktop system, because some people do that, they might be counted in this chart, might be counted in the unknown category.
I think one of the other charts I have pulled up might have BSD on it.
Yeah, it did. I seen that one. It was it was like 0.02%.
Yeah, it's pretty small. Let's look at the Ars Technica article now. Like every one of your big mainstream, tangentially close to technology articles, journal groups covered this article. So of course, Linux Freeze 403, according to research from StatCounter. So the way StatCounter works is if you have a website, you can embed a code on your website, which is going to report data back to StatCounter. Of course, that's be something the web developer does. And are everybody doing this or not? I don't know. I don't know what types of people or what types of groups actually do this. So I don't know. But if it's a good proportional amount, or maybe it's like an Amazon or a Google or something, if these are actually feeding data back, we might have really good data. If it's just small, weird, obscure sites, we may not have good data. So the quality of our data in and of itself is certainly a question. Now, they're saying that this is only installed on 1.5 million global websites, which is in complete one drop of the ocean. So that in and of itself, the size of the internet compared to the number of websites out there in and of itself says, maybe there isn't enough useful data to suggest that this is accurate. So we do have questions about the accuracy of it. Of course, there is some drop that could very well be people frustrated. Of course, don't forget, we'll see what happens with it. Of course, Elon Musk just tweeted out a couple weeks ago, or was it last week, that, why can't you start, why can't you set up a Windows computer without a Microsoft login? Of course, some people indicated that there are ways still to do it, but somebody like Elon Musk tweeting that out causes a lot of people to go, yeah, that is. I wonder if there's a way around this. And that could be something that drives people nuts.
I've tried it. I've tried most of the tricks just to find 4 months later that an update actually repaired it. So then it keeps asking to open it with login.
Yeah, of course, and then you'll get constant pop-ups and notifications, I assume. I don't know. I did download a Windows 11 installation media. Maybe I'll try throwing it on one of these hard drives I have.
It's more of a problem with Windows 10 for me than Windows 11, and I have both of them in virtual machines.
Yeah. So I don't even know if my processor can run Windows 11. I don't know. Can anybody know Ryzen 5 1600? Is that going to run Windows 11? I don't know. And I don't know if I have TPM2 on this computer. I have no idea.
Oh, you don't?
I've got a Ryzen 5 3600, and that runs Windows 11.
Okay.
I have a 2700X, and it has TPM 1.5, but not 2.0.
Yeah, and I have my motherboard is a MSI B450. Is it 350 or 450? I think it's a 350. Yeah. So if anybody knows off the top, if I could run it, let me know.
And I don't know if any of my systems even have a TPM chip.
Because you don't care.
The bigger question is, does your processor have the instruction set requirement for Windows 11 when they make that?
And that's what I don't know if mine has. But let's go ahead and have a look at the other statistics. Of course, we've already looked at Stat Counter, which is one in question. Here is W3 Schools is one I've traditionally liked. So this one here has reports up back to January. So Windows 11 is 30%, Windows 10 is 30%, Windows 8 is 0.5, Windows 7. Look at this, 1.3. 3 times more people are like, I'm holding on to my Windows 7. I don't care about your futuristic crap. And then we have Linux at 4.1, Mac at 8.4, Chrome OS at 0.06, and mobile is 18. Now, to be clear, Stat Counter, this is setting to desktop versions. So if we look at all platforms, then you'll see a bunch of other stuff in here as well. We see Windows, Android, iOS. So you can see that there's a number of different things in there.
And interestingly, when you're using all platforms, Linux doesn't even show up.
Yep. Oh, no, it's like as a percentage, it's 1%, 1.5%. It's right over here, 1.5.
Yeah, but
which 1.54 up from 1.3. You know, we're doing good. But this is what they're doing, where they're saying Linux is 4. But if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the one where if you go back down a little bit, you'll see Linux as high as in 2019, as high as 6% in many instances. And it appears as though the drop is a lot of people who were at Windows 11 jumped over to Linux initially. And then I think they probably realized, maybe that they just couldn't pull it off or didn't know or got frustrated, didn't want to learn. And they probably eventually migrated over into Windows 10. That's kind of my theory. But if you look at W3 Schools, you'll see they did go as high as 6% at some times. W3 Counter, this one here is more of a paid service. So if you pay for this, or I actually think you can create a free sign up for it, but I'm not doing that either. You could probably get a lot better things, but this one here, top web browsers, of course, Chrome, then Safari, and then of course they're doing Chrome versions. So Chrome 121, then Chrome 120, Chrome 122, Chrome 109. All these are just Chrome.
You sure those aren't browsers? Down there at the
bottom. That's just browsers, yeah. Looking at platforms, Linux comes in number 10 at 1.85. Of course, this does include Android and iOS. And then it's also splits down the version of Android. So we have Android 10, Android 13, Android 12, Android 11. We have iOS 17, iOS 16, macOS, Android 14. Hey, Linux does appear on the list, though. It beat out Android 9. So you see that, and then of course we can see some screen resolutions as well. So you can see that the what the percentage of Linux is. This article going around was probably more sensational than anything else in my thought, but it does raise a question: why did this happen? So one thing we were asking before the show started that we don't have a solid answer for. Does anybody know how does a Steam Deck report itself? So we're not talking Steam OS. We're talking you bought a Steam Deck. You're using this. You can run a web browser on that. Does that web browser report itself as other? Does that web browser report itself as running on a desktop? that could cause a bump. And a lot of people in Brian Lunduke's video here in the comments did actually say, yeah, it's possibly the Steam Deck is what might be doing this, which is in and of itself good. And I'd encourage you to check out this video from Brian Lunduke. It is pretty good. That he just talks about various ideologies and things about it. But with this, how does the Steam Deck report itself? Does anybody absolutely know? Not like, this is my random guess, but does anybody actually gone out there, looked at it, and say, oh, I did some statistics, and this is how it reports itself? Because it will... I don't know how they did the Steam Deck. Did they report the Steam Deck as it's running on a desktop, or did they do it as it's running on a mobile device? Or we don't know what the hell this is in our statistics. Does anybody know that for a fact what Steam Deck does? Because that could cause a bump as Steam Deck gains popularity. The other thing we can attribute this to is fingerprinting. Or anti-fingerprinting rather, as the user agent on the fingerprinting devices will try and look back and say, hey, we're going to muddle the statistics by reporting false data. You know, this is what Tails does with spoofing the MAC address, so you can't even tell what brand device is being used to go onto Tor.
Okay, here's a bit of logic.
What's that?
Okay. Like one of the guys here in the YouTube chat, he says that SteamOS is a custom Gen 2 kernel. Okay. Assuming that SteamOS is using Firefox, it would probably report it as desktop.
That's what my guess is. And so, especially since it's the... you know, they're doing a lot of backporting, like a lot of development in Arch, and they're not doing that Arch in some ARM. They're doing that Arch in, you know, the standard 64-bit.
I don't know if the Steam Deck uses Firefox or Chromium. I do not know.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that would make a difference in the purpose of the statistics, as long as it's accurately reporting. But the anti-fingerprinting is good, is a good thing to look at, because in this case, you know, what is the web browser reporting back? Because in fact, maybe the Windows is so much higher because maybe the anti-fingerprinting makes every computer look like Windows, you know, and so maybe there's really secretly 30% of the internet runs Linux, but since all the fingerprinting we're doing with Firefox, it just makes it look like it's all Windows users. We're the stealth users. Who knows, right? And frankly, I know more people, you know, I've bumped into a lot of people that randomly use Linux out in the wild, which is very interesting. You know, we did at our camp last year, right? Guy's over there and he's working on Ubuntu. I'm like, wow, cool, you're using Ubuntu, right? He's like, yeah, it's called Linux. Like, yeah, I know.
I opened the Wikipedia page for the Steam Deck. And the operating system is Arch-based. So I think it would report itself as a Linux system. But it does, so it might show up as a desktop.
Yeah.
And there's another handheld unit. I can't quite remember the name off the top of my head. That's a competitor to Steam Deck, but I think it runs a Linux.
GeForce Now?
No, that's NVIDIA. It might actually be run by NVIDIA. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it. All I know is that the plastic is white.
Nintendo.
Yeah. DS, right? Yeah. The other thing that I thought about in my notes is this an increase or a decrease of specific user base as a matter of percentages? Remember that these are percentages. So if 100, you know, let's see if 10% of the user base just disappears, it automatically shifts the percentages proportionally. So if one large swath of people disappeared from the internet, you know, a country gets knocked out of the grid, boom, that might very well cause a spike in all of them. Because as a matter of percentage, a large chunk of them have disappeared. Or if we're talking about, the Windows 7 crowd, they can't run Windows 7 anymore, and they're never win 10ers, they'll never win 11ers, and so they're like, okay, I don't care what it is, I'm going to go back use something else, and I hate Mac, and so let's go with Linux. So I imagine there's some of that. And overall, though, anybody else want to jump in before I have my last point here?
Fire away.
All right. Here's my last point. I think that this is overall a good thing. We might actually get a spike in Linux going forward explicitly because every one of these sites talked about this. And one thing we know, the reason they do exit polling and the reason they do polling of presidential candidates and other people is because there's a whole lot of uncommitted people that are like, I'm just going to do what everybody else is doing. If we're seeing articles saying more and more people are adopting Linux, it might cause more people who may not otherwise look at Linux to start looking at Linux again. And so I think this is a good thing. And that it could cause more people to start looking at it and go, wow, that's kind of neat. So that's kind of my thought and my analysis. Any final thoughts to add into this before we jump into our comments?
We need more of the sheeple.
Yeah, we need more Linux sheeple. Of course, we need to solve some of the issues that inside of the Linux world to make the sheeple be happy. Wait, happy, not bad.
Yeah.
So
And I just opened the Steam Deck website. They have a software section of their website, and the device is running SteamOS.
it is running SteamOS.
Yeah,
And
you
I
can
imagine
get that for
SteamOS
the desktop.
probably reports itself as desktop, is my guess. So that's
Yeah,
neat.
because they actually have a docking station that you can buy, where you just place it down and then you have a full
Would it be a
desktop.
fun thing to buy one just to, I mean, I don't play video games, so I can't imagine I'd use it for a game, but I could get it definitely for a small little computer. Would that be a fun thing to do or a bad idea?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but at least
I've heard of people actually putting Windows on the Steam Deck. It is doable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So it could be a fun project or a video series of what could you do with this device other than playing games. That might actually be something.
Yeah, if I had the extra money, I might do it. Unfortunately, all of my insurance bill went up this month or this year. My insurance bill went up by approximately the cost of 1.5 Steam Decks. So, like, just across the board, because people will not put criminals in jail, and so they're running around destroying more property and causing more insurance claims, and so the rest of us are paying for this now, folks.
Yeah, mine took a huge jump.
Everybody's did across the board.
Yeah.
But I think mine went up 35-40%. Didn't hit anything. Didn't make an insurance claim.
I called them up, threatened them. I told them I wanted the old fogey discount, and I got a perfect driving record, and why are you doing this to me, and blah, blah, blah. And said, there's nothing we can do about it. Said, if you're free to shop around.
Yep. And because they know that they ain't finding anything cheaper out there.
I'm just scrolling down the software page of the Steam Deck website of what it's running. They have a photo of two types of gamers, where one of them sits on an old CRT screen playing a game of some sort in GNOME, I think. And there's another having a Steam Deck in his hand, running HTOP on the Steam Deck.
Nice. All right, let's see. Jesse says, no PC in my home runs Microsoft software anymore other than the Xbox One. There you go. Yeah. Worked slowly, but I do things often because I can, not because I should. There you go. I have no Microsoft or NVIDIA devices unless you count my Nintendo Switch. There you go. Hello, JRJ. Greetings. And CCJ. Almost forgot about the stream. Don't forget, tomorrow's stream's going to be later. Hey, still getting used to Plasma 6. Yeah, I did actually look for the floating panel on my Manjaro, and I could not find the floating panel. I'm sure it was there, but I couldn't find it, which is good because I didn't want to use it anyway. I just wanted to see, was it really there? Let's see. Ryzen will run on Windows. Intel will, but not on a Raspberry Pi. Ryzen 5 2600, about 5 years old, and runs it. Yeah, mine's slightly older than that. Mine's 1600, of course. Isn't Steam immutable? No, Steam is Arch. Never met another Linux user in person. Really? Wow. Yeah, I've bumped into a few people out there in the wild. I don't care what the percentages. I will continue using Linux forever. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. That's with me as well. Use Window Maker in 1999. OpenBox since 2004. Oh, by the way, I downloaded like a pile of distros at the donut shop the other day, and there is a cinnamon version of Armbian. I really wanted to run cinnamon on the Raspberry Pi when I first got it, and no distro would run it. Ooh, I want to have a look at that. So downloaded it. We got 32 watching on Linux, on the Tubies on Linux. How many are watching on Linux to get our statistics? All right. Over on Odyssey, we got 19 currently on Odyssey. Let's check out comments over there on Odyssey. Quarrel's a new player on the block. That's changing everything else. Windows 11 requires secure boot too. Pfft. Nonsense.
I'm too old to learn Windows.
Based on my AI query tool, Steam Deck reports as Linux on the 4% market share is only partially due to Linux. Okay, so he says that. Greetings from Shenandoah Valley. Hey, I'm going to be in Shenandoah Valley before too long. I'm going to make my way up there towards Roanoke here in a couple weeks. After I'm done mess around in South Carolina. 4% increase, probably at least part of people saying no to Windows 11. Yep, it's Windows 11. Asus, ROG Ally, and Lenovo, but those are Windows 11. Ugh. Part of the evidence is Linux doing better. Stack Overflow's recent survey. Yeah, that's the funny thing. Stack Overflow had one, and it was specifically Ubuntu was 36%. I think that did make sense, though, because Stack Overflow is visited mostly by developers and programmers. So it does make sense that they have a much higher skew towards your Linux users.
Yeah, but his point is that they did a survey amongst developers, of which 40% is using Linux.
Plasma 5 has a yeah, I know it was there. I just couldn't find it. It wasn't in the same spot as it was on 6. Yeah, a lot of the articles, and I did cover that in my video, that the floating panel is not new. It's just the default. Which one more thing I have to change because that floating panel is atrocious. God, it looks like a bubbly piece of garbage. All right, we got 34 watching on Rumble. What's happened? Kick. I'm going to attempt to install Debian at Bullseye with bspawn and i3 and have configured it before the end of the show. Uh-oh. Well, Uncle Bonehead, you'll have to join us for our after the live portion ends to see how it's working. Let's see, we got all of those. Trafo Tom, yeah. Stupid daylight savings. Strawberry might join later. Very good. 3% overthrew a tyrannical government over 200 years ago. Imagine what 4% can do. That's right. We're coming for you. How much of that could be Windows subsystem for Linux? That's a good question.
But I actually doubt that the 4% of Linux users can agree to join and do anything. Just imagine we are 4% of the market share, and there is amongst those there are maybe 100 different distributions and versions used amongst them.
Yeah, we can come together.
You put Linux on Windows,
Wayland's
you
awesome.
have
Wayland
a mutt.
sucks. What?
If you put Linux on Windows, you have a mutt.
Yeah. Oh, Uncle Bonehead, this occurred to me. It's not Windows subsystem for Linux would not report out because, to my understanding, Windows subset for Linux does not have any Windows compositors. So, unless you're using a terminal-based web browser, you're not going to be sending any statistics over there.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Linux users are more have a higher percentage chance of turning off analytics and so on. So the counting is skewed.
I think to use matter of fact, I read something to use the hypervisor or the virtual machines of Windows, you have to have Windows Pro or better. Home does not come with that.
Yeah.
Quantum Alpha says there's a study conducted at the university to show that Linux has, in fact, more than 13%.
At where?
At his university.
Okay, I can elaborate on that. I had a second cousin that went into college, and he was studying to be a program developer and get into IT. It was mandatory that he took a class on how to use Linux and how to learn the command line and all its ins and outs.
And Quantum Alpha is over here with a new slogan: MAGA, make arts great again.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Oh boy. There you go. Still have it. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Installed GNOME and ticked off that box. Uh-oh. All right. And let's see. There's one guy over there twitching in the corner, which might very well just be me on my monitoring stream. I don't know. Well, there is the comments. Anything else you want to say before we jump off? We gotta have come up with something else fun to say. Let's see. What other fun updates do we have going on? I don't know. My brain's been frazzled. Like this week has just been. I don't know. I intended to get a lot more work done than I actually accomplished. Although I did get some good things done. Just not nearly as much as I thought I might. We did get over half of the next short stories already.
I attempted to get out of bed more than I usually do.
Ever since I crossed back in the Eastern time zone, I've not been able to get up as early in the morning as I have in the past, which is really weird. So
we're all lazy.
Relative time.
We're all lazy in the morning here.
Yeah, I don't know. And shoot for that in the morning tomorrow. Of course, Saturday, because I think our conferences stuff starts at 8 or 9 in the morning on Saturday. So, but hey, I pay for it and do it to myself intentionally. So, why not? Don't forget the time change this weekend. Oh boy, we go back. Wait,
it seems like I just sprung back. We go forward in the spring. Spring forward, fall back.
Yep.
Yeah, I think my body's getting ready for the time change. I've been getting up earlier the past few days. Today
it seems like I just changed mine back, and then here I got to spring it ahead again.
Boing, 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 boing.
Yeah. Did I even get my? Yeah, okay. Did I even reset my watch from when I crossed over the other day? Yes, I did. Did take care of everything. I always keep the computers stay on East Coast because I do everything based on the East Coast time. But then, of course, as I'm traveling around, I have the watch and I have the car, which, has its clocks as well, which, use those. And then in some cases, the
you
GPS
need the room clocks that go across the inside of your van that are all an hour off from each other.
Yeah. Yeah, put 4 of them up right on the pegboard.
On my phone, I have it set to, I always have an East Coast clock there. And then I have another clock for each of my major clients. So I always know what time it is and the places I need to be communicating with people. And so, that way I keep it. And then, of course, there's the one time where I have to be more studious about it is when I'm in Parker, Arizona, because I camp on the California side of things. And so the phone will randomly change based on which tower it finds that given hour, and it'll change its time repeatedly. So I have to lock its time into Mountain Time Zone over there. Of course, that's the spot in Arizona where they don't do the time change. So now I have clients in Arizona. I have to remember what time it is now versus then. So it's... we need to abolish this time change crap.
Agreed.
I agree.
This is the one thing I think everybody in the world can come together on. Let's found world peace on
except
the
the District of Columbia
hates it. Well, they just hate everything. That's okay. They're just a swamp.
Yeah, we can let them have their own time zone and be like Newfoundland and set it off by half hour.
There you go. Smartwatches can keep up automatically with reporting everything you do and say. Yes, it can. That's why I don't use those. This has a GPS module, so I can actually have it set itself, but it's never been accurate setting itself, so I just manually set it myself. All right, well, I think maybe since I'm hanging out at a truck stop right now, maybe we will jump off. Am I going to watch Joe Biden's speech? No. You know, I'm going to watch some demented psychopath. Yeah. Let's get ready to mumble. That's right, Andy. Lord. But do we keep the daylight savings time or the standard time? I don't think it matters. Oh, there you go. Uncle Bonehead does have his does have Joe Biden's speech in a nutshell.
Something interesting today, though, the 747 that Biden flies on, everyone, is typically known as Air Force One, but when he's not on it, it's just a regular plane. It was actually up here in New Hampshire today, or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. It was doing training maneuvers out at the seacoast, doing touch and goes at the airfield out there. Yeah, it used to be an Air Force base, and I've gone to a few shows there, and you can drive through it now and everything. And yeah, so 747 out on the seacoast.
So, touch and goes for Air Force One.
Yeah, I was out there for about 2 hours.
That wasn't the plane that the wheel fell off and landing, was it?
No, this was the nice big 747 that can shoot down space aliens, I think.
No, did you see that one of the a Boeing airliner? The wheel fell off during takeoff. Yeah, it was in the news lineup today.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, so more airplanes. Just keep on. But I have a theory about this. So if you go back and look at the staging planning for, I don't know if it's EU Council or if it's WEF. I can't remember which one of those two it is. But they have a airline goal to effectively shut down airlines, cutting down to only not even five entire airports in the entire EU and in most of the world. Basically shut down air travel for common people. Of course, the elites can still fly, but by 2030, they want to start phasing it out, and by 2040 or something, no more air flight at all for the common people.
That's a lot of countries to cover.
And so my thought is this year we've seen so many tragedies. Now, I would say that all of these airline issues are coming from the DEI inclusions because they're prioritizing things they shouldn't be prioritizing for making a functional airplane. I don't care. I do not care who you go to sleep with. I care that you know how to be an engineer. Okay. Yeah. And so that's what is important. Now, if you like sleeping with people of the same genders and you're a really good engineer, great. All the power to you. We'll hire you. But that should not be any mark to hire somebody should not be whom they sleep with or how they dress or the beliefs that they have. They need to be an objectively good engineer, and they have been going against that with DEI inclusion and side of all this. That's what I think is going on, but is it more of a, hey, look how unsafe air flight is so that we can just ground the planes because it's just too dangerous? I wonder if it's all part of their plan.
Sabotage.
Very interesting.
The interesting part is that right up until the contributor covenant came along, none of this was any issue. No one cared who you were or who you went to sleep with, if you went to sleep with anyone. Yeah. As long as you did good work, that's all that counted.
Yeah.
And yes, there were instances of people not behaving well verbally to women and so on. But,
well, do you remember the time when talking about sexuality in any form in the workplace was called sexual harassment, and now we have to celebrate it? It's like, No, I'm here to do work, not talk about sex. You know? Oh boy, we're getting more stuff going on over here on Rumble. This could get dangerous.
Ouch.
Button looks like he's using Vim for the first time trying to exit the stage. Well, whoever came up with Q with :Q, man, that was brilliant. I gotta say, I got a great idea, guys. We're gonna make the exit of this program :Q, so nobody will ever get out of here.
Yeah, I remember I had a shell account on a shell service about 20 years ago, and I was about to edit a file, and my editor at the time was a Nano. Or Pico what's the name at the time, and the shell server didn't have this editor installed, so I asked on the RSC support channel what editor they had that I would use, and they suggested running I don't remember, but they had aliased the Nano editor to Ed or Joe, which is two of the worst editors that you can ever start as a new person. You had to use control sequences and all kinds of crap just to navigate around, let alone end the damn thing. And I didn't know how to end this thing other than shutting down my terminal and logging in again.
Yeah, there you go. That's me if I have to use Vim, man. I have to pull up guides to use Vim if I'm forced to. It's just not one I tend to use. My preference is Nano. I know how it works in fine detail. So
Yeah, same here.
yeah. Doing the same thing with the trucking industry. Does anybody know what's going on with the trucking stuff in New York? Did that just fizzle away? I have not heard anything about it. You know, there were some truckers who are saying we're not going to be delivering.
This week it's been kind of light on any kind of news on that.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's actually going on or if that was just
and then before that it was the trucking down at the border, and that fizzled out too.
Yep.
The co-kick or whatever the name of the user on Rumble is, he typed the first refrain line of a popular song 30 years ago.
Yep.
I tend to believe a little bit on these trucker things that are going on. They're not as effective as people think they are, because about 80% of the trucks are owned by trucking companies. Do you think these companies are going to let their trucks do this?
Actually, some of the truckers I was listening to in interviews, it was the trucking companies themselves were saying, yeah, we agree. Because the position they're in is they might be all about money, but these trucking companies have so many jobs they can do. They're not losing any money. They're just diverting their jobs to other places.
Yeah.
So Night of Light says last he heard it is still on. Truckers are holding strong. So
Yay.
I don't know. That'd be neat. Anyway.
Yeah. And depending on what the truck they're using, they don't need to stay at the home base because most truckers can sleep just fine in the truck.
In the cab, yeah.
Uncle Bonehead says the trucking thing at the border was a giant grift. No trucks involved. Yeah, there were more RVs and van dwellers down there than there were truckers, I think, down at the border. And we're not talking about the border one. We're talking about the one where, in response to the was that Letitia James, the New York case against Donald Trump, where they basically charged him $450 million for defrauding a bank that testified on his behalf and said we'd like to do business with him again. It caused a lot of backlash where people are saying, yeah, we don't really want to go to New York. And so it caused a bunch of truckers to stand back and say, yeah, we're just not going to deliver into New York, and it's just going to cause a lot of issues. Of course, the New Yorkers are sitting there going, I don't need your truckers. We get our food from the grocery stores. Because
Yeah, I
Some people
remember
think.
someone arguing the exact same point 15 years ago in a comment in one of the local papers. There was this woman who didn't understand the need for people to go hunting. They could buy the meat in the grocery stores like everyone else.
That was AOC.
This was in a Norwegian newspaper. There was a Norwegian person saying this,
Oh.
and yeah,
It's good to know that the stupidity is not just in America.
yeah. we have them here too.
All right. Well, I think before we get ourselves into any more trouble and we get declared the most hateful stream in YouTube
Yay.
world, we should probably jump off. Of course, if you are a supporter and you want to jump on to the after show, you can go ahead and jump on here in a few minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and close out the streams. Reminder: tomorrow we will be a little bit later, either 9 or 9:30 for the news to start. We're going to try and keep the show a little bit shorter as well because I have to get up super early on Saturday morning to continue conference stuff. But anyway, we'll be back, hopefully back to a somewhat more normal schedule following the following week. This week's has just been kind of crazy, so it's just kind of that. And I think I drove about 1,000 miles this week as well. I think I've driven at least 2 or 3 hours every single day. So,
Man, I drove that in an entire year.
yeah. I know, right?
I have to drive my truck around the neighborhood here just to charge the battery up in it.
Yeah. That's it. All right, guys. Well, we will see you guys tomorrow for the weekly news roundup. With that, thanks for hanging out, and we'll catch you guys later.